All right, let's get into it. We're going to unpack the incredible story of how a tiny DVD-by-mail startup became, well, you could argue the most powerful entertainment company on the entire planet. It's really a masterclass in strategy, data, and honestly, having the guts to bet against yourself to win the future.
You know, the origin story is the stuff of legend. It's 1997, and Reed Hastings gets slapped with a $40 late fee for a VHS tape from Blockbuster. Now, Hastings himself has kind of admitted this might be more of a founding myth than a literal fact, but the idea behind it, that was totally real. The whole video rental experience was just completely broken.
And that one simple insight led to this, the red envelope revolution. Hastings and his co-founder Mark Randolph, they realized that the brand new DVD format was the key. I mean, think about it. It was small, it was light, and it was tough enough to actually survive being sent through the mail.
What's so genius about this is just how simple it was. You go online, you pick your movies from a huge library, you get them in the mail, and when you send one back, boom, the next one on your list ships out automatically. But the killer feature? No late fees, ever. This was a direct shot at Blockbuster's most hated and most profitable policy.
But, it wasn't all smooth sailing. The dot-com bust hit, and it left Netflix just fighting to survive. And that desperation led them to a meeting that would go down as one of the biggest blunders in business history.
So just look at this contrast. Hastings and Randolph, they fly to Dallas, they walk into Blockbuster's headquarters, and they offer to sell Netflix for $50 million. Their pitch was, let us run your online brand for you. Blockbuster CEO John Antioco pretty much laughed them out of the room. I mean, from where he was sitting, this tiny little company was a total joke.
And this number, well, this shows you the real cost of that laugh. Just a decade later, Blockbuster, that $6 billion giant, filed for bankruptcy. Its value was basically zero. It's got to be one of the greatest examples ever of a market leader being completely blind to the future.
So, with Blockbuster pretty much gone, Netflix could have just sat back and enjoyed its super successful DVD business, right? Nope. Instead, they made an even crazier move. They decided to bet against themselves.
It's a totally fair question, isn't it? I mean, their red envelope system was this perfectly tuned, money-making machine. But Reed Hastings saw that broadband internet was coming, and he knew it was better to blow up your own business before a competitor does it for you.
Let's just hang on this for a second, because this is really the most important lesson from the whole Netflix story. Most successful companies, they protect their main business no matter what. Netflix stood up and basically said, hey, this thing that makes us all our money, DVDs by mail, yeah, it's got an expiration date. That took some serious foresight.
Okay, so streaming becomes a massive hit, but a new threat pops up. Netflix was just licensing shows and movies. So, what happens when the big studios want their stuff back? Well, they had to evolve again, from just being a renter of content to becoming a creator of it.
And they did not start small. This number, $100 million, that was their first huge bet on original content, House of Cards. What was so nuts wasn't just the money, it was how they did it. They used their data, and they were so confident in the combo of director David Fincher and star Kevin Spacey that they ordered 2 full seasons without ever even seeing a pilot. Nobody did that back then.
And when they released House of Cards in 2013, they just dropped all 13 episodes at once. And just like that, they didn't just have a hit show on their hands. They literally invented binge watching. The conversation around the water cooler changed overnight from, hey, did you see last night's episode, to, are you done with the whole season yet?
And this timeline just shows you how fast things took off. From that first $100 million bet, they quickly scaled up to creating these global cultural moments like Stranger Things, and then to these totally unlikely international hits like Squid Game, a Korean drama that became their biggest show of all time.
So how in the world did they get so good at picking hits? Well, their secret weapon was data. While the old TV networks were relying on these broad ratings, Netflix had data on what every single user watched, what you paused, what you rewatched, and they used techniques like A/B testing to make everything better.
So, for example, let's talk about the artwork for a show. That little picture, that thumbnail or movie poster you see when you're scrolling, it's not random, not at all. In fact, it's incredibly personalized.
It's actually chosen specifically for you by an algorithm, based on everything you've ever watched. So if you watch a lot of comedies, you might see a poster for a new drama that highlights one of its funny actors.
But your neighbor who loves thrillers, they might see a completely different, darker poster for the exact same show. It's personalization on a mind-boggling scale.
And all this innovation, it comes together to create what we now call the Netflix effect, a permanent change to our culture and the setup for their riskiest move yet.
So, by 2022, believe it or not, Netflix was in crisis mode. For the first time in a decade, their growth had completely stalled, and their own data pointed to a massive problem. An estimated 100 million households were using the service for free by sharing passwords.
So, they made a decision that everybody hated. They cracked down. The media predicted it would be a total disaster. But this chart, this shows what really happened. After a little dip at first, they added almost 30 million new subscribers in 2023. It was yet another case where a tough, data-driven decision beat out all the negative noise.
So when you step back, you realize their impact is just permanent. They invented binge watching. They proved that an amazing story from Korea or Spain could be a global smash hit. They absolutely killed the idea of appointment TV, where you had to be on your couch at 8 p.m. on a Thursday. And they made data the bedrock of creative decisions.
And here's the big takeaway from all this. The skills that built Netflix, they're the most valuable skills in the entire digital economy today. Understanding data, building algorithms, testing products, designing subscription models, these are the real building blocks of almost every successful modern business.
The companies that win today are the ones that master these exact skills. So if you want to build that same toolkit, Uplatz actually offers courses in data analytics, digital marketing, and technology business strategy to help you understand and shape what's next. You can check out their whole curriculum over at uplatz.com.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one that the whole Netflix story boils down to. It's its repeated willingness to destroy what's working today for a shot at what will win tomorrow. So if you were in their shoes, would you have the courage to make that same bet?